How do I start this thing?
Have you plugged the bloody USB in?
Yeah, it's in.
Nah, man, that's the wrong port. Oh, wait, it's flashing now.
It's recording.
Well, let's start this thing, fool.
Hello, everyone. I'm Amelia.
Hi, I'm Sam. Welcome to Ask the Duo podcast, a podcast where we get deep into those late-night, unfiltered conversations.
We'll be discussing all things lifestyle, relationship, mindset, and more.
All right, let's get to it.
Hello, welcome back.
Hello, welcome
Why
back, guys.
are you laughing? It's such an exciting time for me because I love Christmas and Christmas is not far away.
And it's not for me. I'm a
Party pooper.
Nah, mate. Just not a festive celebrator.
Doesn't matter. It's like an exciting time. But anyway, it's exciting times when Christmas comes, means it's almost the end of the year. And for us personally, we really like to reflect on the year, like what's happened, what's gone well, what hasn't gone so well, what can we do better. And it's kind of like a retrospective for us.
Retrospective for us? Yes.
Yeah.
It is. It's a good time to really review, recover, recalibrate, restart.
Restart.
For the new year.
Reset.
Okay, yes, reset.
We've also collated highlights of our listeners' top favorite episodes and also our favorites too of the year as a part of our reflection, which you'll hear later in this episode, so make sure you hang around for those. But first, I have talked to a friend before and I was saying that 2022 is a year of a building block that we needed. And why I say that is there's been a lot happening this year. I think from the outside world, a lot of people saw all the good things that we achieved, like for example, getting married. But at the same time, in the background, we had a lot of challenges that did hit us almost all in one go, which was really interesting. But I would say we handled it really well.
Yeah, to really jump into it, we had a lot of family situations, which obviously we had to readjust ourselves to those events.
Yeah, to help them out, but also it really does take moments like this to make yourself think, are you treating yourself right as well? Do we need to recalibrate and rethink how we treat our own body, mind, lifestyle, just so that we can make sure that we're at our best too?
Yeah, 100%. And it's a good way to really take that moment and appreciate those things that are around us.
Yeah. And aside from that, the one that the listeners may know of is you being made redundant. That also happened around the same period, which was another challenge that we had to go through together, I would say too.
Yeah, that was a very interesting moment, but it is what it is. Luckily, I've been through a similar situation. It's just the timing that was probably not the best.
Yeah. And for me personally, I would say I had the longest time of feeling burnout, and I never knew that could happen. Like, I've had burnout before. Usually it's like maybe a few days, maybe a week, a few weeks, but this one actually felt like it almost went on all year. I would say around 10 months, and I'm only recently starting to feel a bit more grounded, a bit more myself, a bit more clear in terms of directions and life and all that, which was really weird. It was a interesting period to go through, and one of the hardest battles, I think, when you're in burnout, it's really hard to know what to do and how to get yourself out of it because you don't know. Well, for me, I didn't know what exactly was giving me the burnout, so that was hard.
Yeah, and it was a learning curve for me too, in terms of being the person on the sideline supporting. It was huge. It was more so seeing you go through that situation, but how can I learn from that as well, where I can avoid those situations too?
Yeah, and we were just talking about this just last night because you taking on this new role, you will have a lot of responsibilities and a lot of your time will be devoted to it. So I was just telling you in terms of me, I'm a person who does take on a lot, and I generally can just power through it. And I'm not bragging or anything. It's just that I do manage to just do a lot of things at the same time, and I'm okay with it. You give me shit. Like, I'm okay with it. Whereas some people, they know that they need the time for themselves, but I like to do a lot of things like back to back,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I just like that. So I had to find the balance of being able to do that and enjoying that, and also not burning out. And I think I did end up taking on a lot. And also, with a lot of other things going on, it just created that burnout. So I wanted to share that with you and make sure that I guess, you don't fall into that same rabbit hole, because I know for you, you like to have your own time. You like to chill. Like, for example, you like to dedicate some time to play games or like watch YouTube. And with this new role, you may not have that much time for that. So I wanted to prepare you so that you don't follow the same footsteps I went into and get burnout as well.
Yeah. No, it was good off the mic chat late in the earlier mornings while we're
Or
lying in
like,
bed.
it's always the bed talks. That's when all the thoughts and chats happen, because that's when your like mind's like all resting, and now you just have time for each other. The sad times.
Yeah, but those conversations are important to have.
Yeah.
Just spilling the beans, opening the mind, and sharing each other's opinion.
It's kind of like a journal entry, but with each other.
Yeah, and then sometimes like we might not agree with each other, but it's just the fact of just having that conversation.
But that's the point of the discussions. Like, you might have your own thoughts. I think with anyone else, like, if you have something that you're thinking about and in your head you're so stuck on like, yeah, this is going to work, this is how I'm going to do it. And then you share it with someone, they're like, hey, how about you try this? And you're like, oh my God, I never thought about that direction. So I think that's the beauty of these type of conversations.
Yeah, 100%.
With that being said, I was just thinking, if none of these things happened this year, it wouldn't have given us the opportunities that we can foresee us having in 2023. And that's why I called it 2022, the building block that we all needed.
Yeah. And these building blocks are important to have. Like you said, the moments and the experiences that we went through this year in particular has happened for a reason, right? And those events happening has basically given us that experience to really go, okay, this is what's happened. This is what we need to appreciate, or things that we didn't appreciate. How can we build that for the new year? And I think those experiences is a vital point.
Yeah. And I was talking to a friend, like, just exactly this. So she is kind of going through a whole bunch of challenging times in terms of her career as well. But she also agreed, like, it's a building block that we needed, because if she didn't go through these challenges, one, she wouldn't have built the skills that she had. And two, she wouldn't have known, the direction or what she really truly enjoys and the things that she loves and where she wants to go, things like that. So it's definitely a necessity. Like, these challenging times is what we need to continue to grow.
Yeah. And keep an eye out. She is a important person that we want to get on.
Yeah, definitely. I've known her for so long, ever since she was really young, which is really cool. But she's always had a really mature mindset, which is what I loved about her. And surprisingly, we haven't kept in touch consistently, but when we keep in touch, I really love picking her brain. She's just a really smart girl. She's really mature, and I just love the way that she has a really open mind, and she's very inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, so apart from the challenging times that we had this year, of course, there were the good stuff, which is one, we got married. And I think that was actually a celebration that we needed. Even though we're not wedding people, we didn't foresee us having anything like extravagant. But in the end, with no expectations, it really is what people say is like the best day of your life.
Yeah, definitely. And it was really good because we kept it small and us. And I think the big thing is just doing everything for us.
Yeah, there were some things I I would say in terms of family, it helped me reconnect properly with family members that I feel like I really needed that reconnection, and I really love that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing to rebuild more of those connections
Yeah.
and grow a stronger bond.
Yeah, from my point of view, it was really eye-opening, an accomplishment, even though it wasn't directly related to me. But to see that happen and to actually meet them, you guys know who you are. Love you guys. You're my fam now. So likewise, I would love to hang out with you guys more. And I love that, if you guys ever come here, you guys got a home here.
Yeah. And aside from that, obviously we started this podcast, so that's really exciting. We finally made things happen. And it's been a massive learning curve, and we're looking forward to continuing to learn more and build even bigger community around this whole podcast.
Yeah, 100%. And the awareness behind that too.
Yeah. So on to personal goals. Do you have any personal goals in 2023?
Yeah, of course. 23 is going to be a hectic year for me.
Hectic.
Especially in my career. As we know, I've ventured into a new space. So it's going to be a lot of learning, a lot of putting myself out there. But I'm excited because, when you've been working in a particular place where you're good at something, you get stale, you get complacent. And I think it's good to have a new challenge where you basically reset, right? You reset and you focus on a direction that you need to go. So,
and can we also please take a moment for celebrating that you finished your training too at your new role? So,
that was like a hectic 6 or 8 weeks training.
But you're now into the real world and ready to conquer what's out there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, especially with this whole economy and that sort of stuff. So next year is going to be a very interesting.
So is that one of your goals, is to focus and just try and do your best? And for those who haven't actually heard what he does yet, you're in the finance and banking industry.
Yeah. In theory, I haven't really changed where I was originally, but it's probably more focused on a particular institution, a bank more so. So really excited to progress in that position because I've never really done it before.
Any other personal goals?
The other personal goals is more focusing on me, learning and understanding my health more so. So like I said in one of the previous episodes, it's about focusing on health and being more aware of that, awareness of that. So trying to maintain the activeness through, gym or even Muay Thai and see where that takes me. As I am getting busier, I really want to try and keep that still alive. So
the balance between the two.
Yeah, the balance between the two. So
yeah, for me, I also freelance, or I do design on the side. So my full-time job, I'm in the creative industry, but on the side, I still try and do some other different types of creative things. And one of my goals I've had this year, I've started, but I really want to produce some vector illustrations and try and sell those online, like make a few of them and try and sell them. So I do some custom work, but I want to sell something where it's like something that I've designed or created. So that's going to be interesting and difficult because I'm not an illustrator. Like for those in the creative industry, we know that design and illustration can be a little different. So I'm more so on the design side. Like I do branding, I do design websites. Illustration is a little bit out of my expertise, but I do it, and it's really fun for me to create that stuff, and it would be cool to try and create something to try and sell. So that's one of my goals. Another goal is definitely something in the career, but I think working into finding my place in the creative industry. So the biggest struggle that I've had, I think I did mention it in one of our podcasts as well. There's just so many things I enjoy doing in the creative industry, creative marketing, all that kind of stuff. But to find my place, the true place that I really enjoy working in and something that I really love, that works for me and also that I enjoy doing as well, is what my goal is. Continue to work towards that. And third one, health and fitness. So in the background, well, I do Muay Thai, I do gym, and then a particular period of our time, we did a lot of focus on weightlifting, powerlifting. And then for me, I did move into a lot of Muay Thai focus. So now I'm trying to focus on both, but try and find a good balance between the two. But a goal next year is to do a fight in Muay Thai. I think that's a really good challenge. And yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting, mate.
We'll see. All right. And then obviously the podcast. Let's talk a bit about what we've learnt this year from just doing podcasting.
Yeah, I think the really interesting thing and the biggest one is when we're talking to our guests, it seems like it's a common conversation, and it's okay not to be okay, and seeking that professional help.
Yeah, that's such a big one. Like, I actually was so surprised how many people did actually go and seek help, which is really good. And also them being their views on it. Because I was like everyone else thinking, seeing a therapist, you're crazy, something's wrong with you, you're depressed.
Like bad, like it's a negative connotation or something like that.
Yeah, and I don't know how that came about. Maybe it's just like views on TV shows or something. But I'm also someone who's seen a therapist. And back then I was also afraid to tell people that I did go see a therapist because people might think something's wrong with me. But so many people that we've talked to as guests or even friends have mentioned that they've seen therapists, which is really good.
Exactly. It's awesome to know that they have all individually gone out to seek assistance or help. It's cool. It's it should be the normality.
Well, I wouldn't say normality, but I think it's just know that it's okay if you can't control your own emotions or you can't figure out your own emotions to go and seek professional help because that's their job.
Yeah, and it's okay. It's okay to do that,
Yeah, and that TV drama, it's okay to not be okay. It's a good drama, but it's also a good saying. K-drama, if anyone watches that.
Korean drama.
Dude, you love it. Don't shake your head. Second one, the thing I've learned the most from just the people that we're talking to is how many people tend to go through problems alone, but then once we talk to them, you realize a lot of us or a lot of these people, our guests, actually go through a similar problem.
Yeah, everyone shares a similar experience.
Yeah.
Whether it was exactly the same scenario or situation or it was something totally different and the outcome or that timeline is similar in terms of the experience.
So it kind of shows like it should be okay to just open up more and then you can all help each other out or you can share your experiences, even though it's like the same problem, same challenge, but everyone tackles it a different way. And by sharing the different perspectives, it can open your eyes to many different ways to tackle the challenge.
Yeah, and I really agree in the fact of we all should be talking more about it.
Yeah.
Especially with your friends. Like, you don't know what your friends are really going through until you ask the question. And I think it's okay to talk about it. Like, there's a lot of people that are afraid to have conversations like that. But I feel like if your friend is there and they're going through something that you could potentially help, that's huge. Like, talk about it.
Which kind of links to another point that we had is how people are willing to actually open up. You just need to ask the question, like, hey, are you okay? And then they actually open up. It's just that one person or either person just doesn't ask the question. I think like there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's just that mutual respect. Like you don't want to overstep or ask too much about their personal life. But at the same time, it just takes one person to ask the question and someone would actually open up and people are actually willing to open up and share their experiences or share their thoughts or share how they feel.
Yep, 100%. And the next one that we really didn't realize initially was how much in an overall perspective, podcasting has helped us realize just general speech and how we formulate and come up with questions.
How to articulate your questions properly.
Yeah, it's a massive eye-opener because you see all these other people who are doing podcasts and you don't realize, one, the work that goes behind that, the behind the scenes, but two, how you conduct those podcasts, how you come up with the content and stuff like that. And I think that was a massive eye opener to us to some degree as to how it all.
Yeah, and I think there is a big correlation between my job and podcasting in terms of asking questions, but it has definitely helped me form better questions rather than asking something that's a little too vague, and then, you know, the guest might look at you and be like,
yeah, what are you on about, me?
What did you just say? I think, can you ask that question again? And then you're like, okay, maybe I didn't ask it properly. But one last one that I wanted to say is what I've realized, I don't know if it's the same for you, I personally feel like just talking to people, it's given you the help that you never knew you needed. Like just talking about people's experiences, what they've gone through, and then you realize you can pick up on some things that you can apply to your own life. And I didn't realize that could happen.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. And listening to other people's stories and how they came to certain things, you learn from that too.
Yeah, learn from it, or you can kind of like keep it in your little memory bank and be like, oh yeah, this person did this last time, maybe I can try this.
You can try, yeah. It's really enlightening when you hear how other people do it.
And it's really, I've grown a love. Like I've always loved people's stories, but I've grown a love of just listening and knowing people's stories and their journeys. Like,
yeah, massively, yeah.
With that being said, we are going to replay some of the best moments we've had so far this year with some snippets of the guests and some of the stuff that we've talked about this year, and hopefully you enjoy.
Yeah, these were one of the most powerful and inspiring conversations we've had, and we've learnt so much from each of these individuals. This one was the conversation with Pete in episode 34 about our top non-negotiables.
What I have as a non-negotiable is making time to exercise, but on top of that, I find that it helps build your mindset to grow your positivity, because you have, like for weight specifically, you have to keep your mind positive to let yourself know that you can either lift this heavy weight or keep going or pushing through and stuff. And I find that the more that you set yourself or push yourself, the more that you can actually push yourself further.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a confidence thing too, because it's like, you know, when you brought up the weight thing, it's very relatable to me, because I used to do powerlifting where you're always lifting fucking heavy shit, right? Off the ground, push it, whatever it is. So you need to have that strong mentality where you can look at the weight and go, fuck, that's heavy shit. But you go, nah, I'm going to fuck this cunt up.
That's it. That's
you know
it.
what I mean? So
Your mind.
It's like weight, baby, like weight.
yeah, that's it, man. And like
It's all in your head.
Yeah, it's all in your head, man. Like you have to really sit there and go, okay, I'm gonna do this.
Yep.
And that confidence, that clear mentality, well, not mentality, but clear mind frame or mind space where you can go, okay, let's focus on this and get this done.
Yeah.
Because I think your mind is a muscle, so the more you train it to think or push through the harder times where you think it's going to be tough, the easier it will get.
Yeah. 100%. It's all in the head, all mind games. Like basically, I see it as your brain is like a computer. If you feed it positive things, the outcomes will be positive. It's just like like a computer, if you put in like a virus, for example, and it starts to infect the computer, becomes slower, it can't function as well. It's exactly like your head.
Yeah,
Like it's literally like a computer, but obviously an organ. So it's and that's like me. That was my third point, where gym is a non-negotiable for me. I always make time for it pretty much every day. I try to aim for 4 or 5 days a week that I force myself to go. Because I had a motorcycle accident 2 years ago, and then I couldn't gym for a while, and I felt like without being able to go to gym, it did kind of affect me mentally in terms of confidence and positivity and things like that. And when I started going back to the gym and being consistent, it helped me build back confidence and change changed my mindset on a lot of things.
We found this conversation so important, and we agree with Pete's analogy. Your brain and your body is really like a computer, and you are what you feed it. If you build a well-grounded mind, even if you are going through your toughest times, you will be able to push through it, just like Pete did when he had his accident.
Now let's move on to our conversation with Jaz in episode 61, talking about the taboos of marriage and divorce, and this conversation also shows how important it is to talk to someone, because bottling up can take you to places you don't want to be in, and it might be hard for you to get yourself back out. We brought in a very special person, my friend from high school, Jaz.
Hello, hello.
So she's been through both a marriage and also a divorce, which we think would be really good for her to just share her story and just help other people who may be going through similar thoughts or similar experiences, and just talk us through that.
With divorce, I think it's changing though, but the impression is that it's a taboo. You know, it's a stigma attached to you. You're labelled and identified as the divorcee.
Yeah.
And for me, that was also one of the reasons what made it difficult to get the divorce. I didn't want to make anyone unhappy. I didn't want to hurt my family. I didn't want to hurt his family. And that's actually one of the reasons what prolonged, me deciding to finally, leave the marriage. When I had to tell my parents about the divorce and that I've separated from my ex, it was probably one of the most difficult conversations I've ever had.
Yeah.
Yep.
Simply because I just didn't want to break their hearts. And just the look on their face, you could just see how much hurt they had.
I can feel that. I can just imagine what that would be like, because I would be like the same, like the parents is looking either disappointed or be like, how am I going to go out now? Like the community is going to look at you.
It's all about the face.
Way. Yeah.
That's right.
Face,
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was more of a shock for them because I never really spoke about my marriage really to them or anyone. Like I'd never told them what was happening, inside and how unhappy I was. So for them, it was really foreign and new to them that I was feeling like this and that I wanted to leave. And they thought that it was an irrational, impulsive decision, something that was just me upset about something and an overnight decision, when it was something that I've been thinking about for years.
Would you say that finding that therapist during your breakup or your divorce, that's how you found yourself again, or?
I think that the therapist is there to give you, help and support and tell you, techniques to cope with it. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to you. Yeah. So when I got separated, I immediately started, seeking out help with a therapist. But I didn't start the healing process until maybe 2020, late 2020. So I separated in 2019. I just finally got to a point, which was at the end of 2020, where I'm like, I can't solve this from excessive drinking. I can't solve this from going out. I can't solve this with, spending as much time as I can with family and friends or going, traveling. I need to actually sit down with myself, with my thoughts, and feel what I feel.
Yeah.
And journaling helped a lot with that. And I even just sought out like a self-love workshop.
It takes such a strong person to go through all this alone and drag yourself out of it alone too. She has done so well, and we are so happy to say she is happily remarried, and we are both so proud of her. We're going to fit one last favourite, which is the conversation with my sister Anita in episode 45, Hustling as a Woman. Anita was so real about the journey while working her way up to being the Queensland BDM in the banking and finance industry. Trying to hustle and then having to balance family and having kids, which is a battle many women have, which we don't hear about. This really should be something that's shared around more so often, so that other women can know that they are not struggling alone.
While you were growing and, hustling and doing that, did you ever have any limiting beliefs for yourself?
I guess for me personally, I really struggled after having children. and then just sort of coming back to the workforce. And I think this is a really important topic to talk about because I know a lot of women do struggle in this space. Am I good enough to go back to work? Am I good enough to apply for this job? Do I even have the skills to do this job? Can I actually do this job and also look after my children?
Yeah, I think that's really important. Not many people would talk about it or bring it up because they kind of keep it to themselves.
They do.
Yeah.
They
so
do.
what was that like after you had kids? And
I struggled with it.
Yeah.
I struggled with it. I think over the years I have very much had a self-doubt, and I think us women, as you would understand, we generally tend to doubt ourselves, and it really does come down to the fact that I had to start all over again. So, you know, when I had my first child, Jaden, he was very much an easy child, really. You know, he was just great. I can't complain about him. And I went back to work, and it was difficult for me because what was I doing then? I was the branch lender at Suncorp at Carindale.
Oh, yeah.
And it was very difficult for me because I went back full time. We had no option of going back part time or 3 days a week or job share. That does not exist at that time.
Yeah.
So I basically had to give up a lot and sacrifice a lot just to get back into work.
Yeah.
When you're working in a branch and you work in the 9 to 5, you don't have flexibility. Like flexible work hours. So having to do those late nights and having to go and pick him up from childcare and feeling really bad about it, and you know, the challenges of trying to be a good mum.
The mum guilt, right?
The mum guilt, yeah. And then you get the wife guilt because you come home and you're already tired and you can't cook dinner, and so you always feel like you're inadequate.
Just chasing your tail as well.
Constantly. Yeah. So it was difficult for me when I sort of had to experience that. And then I get really anxious when I had my second one because I'm sort of like, here we go again.
Yeah. Did it get easier or?
I think it got worse.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think the longer you prolong the process of having children, I find it harder to come back.
Wow, what an inspiring story, and really loved her honesty. But with that being said, that's it for our highlights of the year. Make sure you check out these inspiring stories on all the platforms that host our podcast. We'll also link them in the show notes below. But we're also interested in seeing which episodes were your favorites this season. So make sure you drop us your comments to our Instagram. And if you've loved our content so far, it would mean the world to us if you could give us a star rating too. So, what's next for Ask the Duo podcast?
Yeah, it's going to be exciting stuff that's lining up for the new year. So, obviously, we're looking to bring more guests to our episodes. And the point of that is to share their stories and their experiences in life and how they got to one point to another.
Yeah, and for us, our take is we really like to dig deep on the emotional journey, how people were feeling while they were embarking a particular journey. How did they get through those challenging times and working through their mind, their mindset, and where they were as to where they are now, and kind of like them reflecting on themselves.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's important to share those things because there could be someone that is potentially going through start of a journey that could potentially learn from one of our guests or even us.
Yeah, of course. So I think that's really important, but obviously we'll still have our individual podcasts and sharing our thoughts, our perspectives, and still doing that. But one difference with, again, we're always talking about bringing balance, having balance and having time for ourselves, and also making sure that we're doing the best that we can be. We are going to scale back to just one episode a week so that we can continue the quality episodes that we are bringing. And yeah, we'll just see how that goes.
Don't forget, we're still going to be focusing on helping others too. So, you know, our content's going to be... So it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting.
Only way is up, like Kanye West. All the way up.
That's not Kanye. That's Fat Joe, mate.
Oh, whoops, sorry. Anyways, for those who know that song, All the Way Up. Ding, 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 ding. We're going all the way up, guys, all the way up. So, going to continue to bring in quality content, but yeah, one a week. We will let you know what day we decide on. The main goal around our content is still going to be just talking about journeys, lifestyle, relationship, but everything is around that mindset and just emotional journeys and how they tackle those challenges.
Yeah. Be excited, guys, because I am.
I'm so excited, so ready, but I'm also excited for Christmas.
Yeah, of course. The festive season. But this leads on to our wrap up for this season, for this financial year. Sorry.
Finance.
I always think about
what
work.
A finance speaker.
It's season wrap up.
Don't forget to do your taxes, guys.
Season wrap up for this year. And, you know, we're massive advocates of having a break, switching off, reset, recalibrate. So this is an opportunity for us to do that same thing.
Lead by example.
Yep. We're just going to wrap it up for this year. If only I had the sound effect for that. But yes, wrap it up for this year and we'll come back nice and strong, excited for what is coming up for y'all.
Yeah, and even though we won't be releasing episodes over the Christmas holidays, but feel free to head back to any of our episodes that you feel you would need or would love to listen to, because they are always there. We've created it for you to listen to them at any point in time. We've got over 60 episodes.
Yeah.
Anything around relationships, mindset, lifestyle, and yeah, all that, and whatever suits you, have a listen. And we are ready to come back for any topic suggestions that you have or any feedback that you have, because we are always there to come back bigger and stronger.
Yeah, just remember, shoot us the DMs, guys. You know, we're more than happy to.
DMs always open.
Slide it in, dudes.
Pika. I gotta recreate my outro, to end the season. But yeah, I think that's about it for this season wrap.
Yeah.
Season wrap.
Okay. Wow. Anyway, thank you again, guys, and we wish you a Merry Christmas and please,
a Happy New Year.
Please take care and look after yourselves. Go spend some time with your family.
And let us know all about your holidays when we come back.
And peace out.
Bye.
Thank you so much if you have reached to the end. We really appreciate you for tuning in. And if you like what you hear, please share it with your friends or family and subscribe to our podcast on whatever platform you are listening to.
Make sure you share any topics you'd like us to cover or questions you might have to our Instagram.
Slide it into our DMs.
Pika. You can also stay in the loop of all the behind the scenes and the release of our new episodes there too. Our Instagram is Ask the Duo Podcast. That's AskTheDuopodcast. Man, feels like I'm in a spelling bee competition right now. Alright, that's it for now, and we'll see you back here for our next episode. Bye!
See ya!